Barry Schwartz is a success. Not because of his 10 books, some of which are really pretty good, and not because of his 200 articles, some of which are outstanding, and not because of his public intellectual status, which I think has been electric, and not because of social action and social theory, to which he really has contributed in the world, and certainly not because of his bridge ability. He's been my bridge partner for 45 years, off and on, but for something else. He's the only person I know who through his entire life has had one wife and one job. And that's a success. I don't think I know anyone else who is a success by that standard. But that for me is a criterion of a life well lived, very well lived.
I just really want to say one thing, which is that I have the highest respect and admiration for Barry Schwartz. When we became friends, he was working on his best-selling book, The Paradox of it wasn't published yet, The Paradox of Choice, and I had decided to write a book myself, and really, out of more than anyone else, he was the greatest source of inspiration and advice and guidance for me to write my first-rate book, The How of Happiness, and he has been a genuine mentor and role model for me, really in every sense of the word, and as a friend as well, along with Myrna, we have shared, countless super fun dinners and conversations over the years. What I would call my feelings for Barry is an intellectual crush, and I think that there are colleagues and former students of his scattered all over the world who would say the same thing. So I love you, Barry, and I can't wait to see you and Myrna in California many times over the next few years.
Why we work with Barry? Obviously, because he's brilliant, because he's wise, because he's charming. Sorry, Barry, when you're famous, there's a lot of pictures of you on the internet. I had many teachers. We work with Barry because we choose to. We all choose. We work with Barry because he knows the meaning of work. We work with Barry because he's revolutionary, and in rereading Barry's work, I'm more convinced of that than ever. And my own favorite, empirically validated reason is because Barry's right.
So nearly 25 years ago, I was an undergraduate work-study student at Penn, not even at this institution, but Barry allowed himself to be recruited by his colleague Paul Rozin and to join Rick McCauley from Bryn Mawr and me to study the psychology of the experience of work. This stunned me for its generosity, the curiosity and the challenge that it suggested, but it turns out that we all know these are qualities that are hallmarks of Barry. The initial project on the experience of work yielded a paper that opened up a path for me to pursue research on the meaning of work. And the meaning of work is, in a very real sense, the theme to which we returned in one of our most recent collaborations. And today I'll talk briefly about both.
Then, though, I asked them about their happiness. Because we all know, right, from the work that Barry has led, the things that make us effective don't always improve our well-being. And when I charted the relationship between interactions with Barry Schwartz and happiness, they looked very different. Why? Well, that initial dip that you get is that moment when you realize that your entire worldview is wrong. And that is unsettling to most of us. After I had this experience with Barry turning my worldview upside down, I made all of my undergraduates, when I was a graduate student at Michigan, read his article on the tyranny of freedom. And I will never forget that there was one student, who I'm going to call Keenan today, because that's his name. Keenan hated this article even more than I did, and he did a whole undergraduate thesis to try to prove it wrong. Only he couldn't. All he could find was support for the idea that too many choices were bad and that satisficers were happier than maximizers. And he became also convinced that this was true, in turn sent it to pretty much everyone he knew, and the cycle continued. So I should warn you, those of you who have not spent hours or months or years with Barry, this may be the low point of your life right now. But just give it a little more time and then things will go up.
Over the last few days, I have treated myself to a large dose of Barry Schwartz talks and papers, and the experience has confirmed a belief I have had a long time, that it's not easy to disagree with Barry and that it's completely impossible not to like him. There is a very useful word in Yiddish that has no exact equivalent in English. The word is mensch, which literally means human being, but actually refers to a special and rather rare subspecies. It is one of the highest terms of praise one can give a Jew. The only way I can describe it is by a set of mixed metaphors. It's people who somehow have a solid core and an inner gyro and compass that keep them stable and steady. They have the right priorities. They can be passionate, but they remain calm about their passions. They inspire both respect and affection. You won't be surprised after all this that I think Barry is a true mensch.